Hey, welcome to New Jump City, everybody, where we recap the week in American and Japanese sequential art. I am your host, Christian, the unbiased king. Espinal, and joining me through StreamYard, it is the man, the myth, the legend, the tank top sage. It's Joshua Gangsta Time Cole.
It's called partner, but it should be called Gangsta Time.
What's good, Chris?
What's
up,
buddy?
everybody listening?
Hell yeah. Also joining us, it is our producer. It is Edgelord Big News Brian.
Sup, nerds?
Hey, we're back for another fun-ass show of this fun-ass podcast. Very into it. How are you guys doing this week?
Oh, chillin'. As
chilling.
you do.
Good, can't complain. I had an intense weekend of straight gaming.
Whoa.
Mostly Marvel Rivals.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm fiended out. I'm really trying to get to Lord with at least one character, but it's gonna take a while. I'm starting to realize it is such a fucking grind.
I've been obsessed with a game on my phone called Hoopland. Not sponsored, but it's just
basketball?
Yeah, it's just a basketball game, but it's like a retro-esque kind one. It's very fun. I'm on the New York equivalent team, like the Knicks insert, which is the New York Empire.
That's cool.
Yeah. So that's fun. Hey, Brian, how's gaming on your end? I know you're a professional gamer. You stream at twitch.tv/itspunchline.
I don't do that very often anymore, but it's been pretty chill. I haven't really been in the grinding mood lately. I've just been chilling for the most part. Just playing some things casually.
Nice. I watched Mission Impossible 8. The last
shit,
Mission
how was it?
It was fine. It's not the best one. If it was really long. It's like almost 3 hours.
What the hell?
Yeah, the last two Mission Impossibles are like 3 hours, where they probably don't need to be. But this is the last one, so I guess they had to go out with a bang. I thought it was the sixth one is still the best one. I had a whole marathon watching Mission.
Really?
Yeah, I had a whole marathon watching Mission Impossible movies to prepare.
Wow.
And yeah, the sixth one's the best one, I think, in my opinion. That's Fallout.
It was better than like the first three?
I think so. I don't know if it's like the first three are dated, but the third one's very good though. Fourth one rules. I like Ghost Protocol a lot. I feel like after
there
the
a consensus,
I don't know.
What's the best one?
I have no idea. I'm not really in the Mission Impossible fandom.
You're not tapped into that.
No,
community?
yeah, I'm not in the Mission Impossible fan community. If you guys have a favorite Mission Impossible, let me know. But right now for me, it's 6 and then 4. But outside of that, they're decent movies. I feel like after the third one, Tom Cruise just makes these movies to just like put himself in more reckless and dangerous situations. Like he spends billions of dollars to throw himself out of more dangerous things.
He does his stunts?
Yeah, he does his own stunts. In this one, he like crawls all over a biplane while it's still in the air and flying. He submerges himself in deep ice water.
For real?
Yeah, remember that joke from South Park? You're here to torture me, aren't you, with Mel Gibson?
Oh yeah. He's like,
I feel like this is a lighter version of that.
My nipples.
Yeah, my nipples, they hurt. They hurt when I twist them.
It's like, then stop.
It's a lesser version of that. He's not like torturing himself, but he is like, Tom Cruise is like throwing himself around and like jumping off of super high heights. So it's a version of that, but it's very fun.
Do you think he's disappointed that this was the last movie and that he hasn't killed himself?
I feel like he could make as many as he wanted if that was his goal. Like nobody's telling him to stop making these movies. But I feel like he's also getting older. I think he's like 60 at this point. So he's like, if I don't kill myself in this one, then I can't keep going. But
Wow, 60. Is Mission Impossible?
I don't know how old he actually
When he
is.
drove the motorcycle off like that fucking hill.
That was the 7th one. That was the one that was just before this one. That was a cool moment. He was like, he was falling like this. You know that standing emoji where it's just the guy standing? That's how he looked with just like falling off.
I can imagine that.
But yeah, decent movie. We're doing a little quick brief because we're not doing a pre-show chat show today. But I suppose we can do a bit of a catch up on our journeys through my journey through all of the Jump series currently, and Josh through One Piece. Josh, do you want to start? How's One Piece going?
One Piece is cool. I finished Fishman Island, and I am currently in Punk Hazard right now.
Whoa!
At the very beginning, just ran into half of a samurai, which would be known later as Kinimaru.
Kinemon.
I was Kinemon, sure.
Come on, man.
Okay, whatever.
Come on.
Sure.
Sure.
That's just literally his name.
There's no sure.
Actually, he's half of a person, so it's really kin. Or
How many letters are in Kinemon?
Mon.
I think it was the lower half,
Kimi,
so he has
Mon.
to be at
Mon.
least the Mon half.
Yeah. All right. So they met Mon. Okay.
The monster.
And for real, I remember I could not stand this dude. I couldn't stand Kinemon throughout Punk Hazard. And it's because I thought I was like, why is he sticking with the Straw Hat so much? And I had to start allowing the reality in my head that he may end up being like another Straw Hat.
He's
and
not
I thought
gonna be
his
another
power
Straw
was
Hat.
so whack. I know. I at the time I was freaking out, bro. I was just waiting, like, who's gonna be the next Straw Hat? I was in full fucking. Nowadays, I do it for the memes, but like before, I was intense. And who's the next Straw Hat? So
Yeah, we were all like on that vibe because we were still like, who's the next one? You can still get a new crewmate.
Yeah, I still think Kizaru's next.
Yeah, you guys, that was not for the memes. You guys believed that shit.
I did for like
Shut up. No,
a day and
no,
a
you
half.
fought me. Both of you fought me.
I'm not saying.
You guys fought
that
me.
That's your lie. I just want to be clear.
You guys
that
fought me.
I felt it was.
It wasn't no. It wasn't no like passing, whatever.
Well, you ain't making no bet out of it. All right, you ain't trying to.
We weren't doing those bets back then. I would
Could
have.
have created that.
I would have made that bet.
Yeah, you guys would have made that bet and lost.
No, I wouldn't have made that bet personally, but you know
I
that's all in retrospect now. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Anyway, I think my favorite moment from like what I read between last week and this week was right before they left Fishman Island. The minister of the left is explaining. Haha, I remember these guys.
Hey,
I just read the article.
hey.
Yeah, the minister of the left is explaining to Nami how to use the new log post, right? That's 3 different needles.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point he says, this is a way of figuring out like which ones are the most dangerous, or least dangerous, by like how much the needle wiggles. And Nami's like, oh no, like it's okay. Like I prefer not to know. And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, don't you want to make sure like you don't get your like crew into any danger? And then her and Usopp is there, and they're like, no, you don't understand. Like our captain is somebody that's like unreasonable. And then Luffy comes out of nowhere, like strings his arm like
Yeah,
wraps his
I remember
arm
this. He
several
goes
times
around his neck.
Nami.
No, it was his neck.
Yeah.
His head over
Oh,
her.
it was his whole neck. Yeah.
He wraps his neck around her and then appears like a demon
Snake
behind
style.
her.
Yeah.
And he's like, which one's that one?
Yeah. Like, and then they both thought to themselves, like they were horrified that he overheard because he's never paying attention to shit. You know what I'm saying? But he heard that. And it was that moment, that panel was so funny of like the genuine horror in Nami's face. But I truly think my favorite moment of the whole thing was Nami being really nonchalant about it initially because she understood how real of a threat that Luffy would be in that situation.
Yeah.
She didn't want to even like let you know what I'm saying, like bring any like hotness or attention to it.
Yeah. He's like, let's not talk about this at all. Don't worry about it.
He's like, oh no, it's fine. But it was just such a ludicrous thing to say to somebody who's like to say as a person that's about to travel to the new world that he's like, what are you talking? There was no escaping it. Brilliant done. Well done.
Yeah, that was a great.
There's also the moment they ran into the whales and Brooke was like, Laboon.
Oh yeah, he was like, Laboon.
Yeah,
that was nice.
There was one moment. There's also a moment when they first ran into the whales and Brooke was like trying to talk to them about Laboon and they was like next to one whale. And like you could see like the eye, like the whale's eye was kind of just looking at him, and you see it had an ellipses. He's like, I don't know. It kind of to me it seemed like he's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know who you are. I don't know you.
He's never heard of him. But then they started liking the music. It was nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
Now I'm about to go through the slog that is Punk Hazard plus Dressrosa.
Yeah. Well, Dressrosa,
That's
I
what they
wouldn't say is a
say, right?
slog. I wouldn't say Dressrosa is a slog, although it is the second longest arc.
Yeah, it's not a slog.
But I feel like I agree that Punk Hazard is the toughest one to get through. But that's just me. It's not a bad arc, but I think it was a weird one. It was not the best one. They can't all be bangers, I suppose. I'm on my own One Piece journey, if you can believe it. I'm not reading it again, but I am watching it. I'm on Skypiea. I just got hit. I just hit the part where Luffy met Enru for the first time, and they started fighting. And he did that face, that face, the meme face that everybody knows is one like when he first took the lightning. So that was fun. I'm watching the anime, and it's like, man. This is when like anime would run on continuously, so they would stretch out moments. And I know this is about the time where Skype was catching up to where the manga is, because I know there's a filler arc right after this one. So
yeah, it's called Long Ring Long Land.
No, that one's canon. That one's a canonical arc.
That was the first canon filler.
I don't know. Davy Backfight could still come back in handy.
No, I'm memeing again. That was an important arc for character development.
It was
quote and said by Christian Espinal.
I agree.
That
I think that's true.
You agree with your quote?
I agree with my quote. I'll stand by it. So I'm on my little own One Piece, casually watching it. It's so weird how like the animation was now that compared to now, where they're putting their whole anime shosi into it. It's really good. I am currently on a journey to read every current running series in Jump that I can read through the Viz app. I am still on Akane Banashi and Witch Watch. I was actually able to read a good 20 chapters of each this week. So I'm nearly caught up. I'm actually 50% of the way caught up to Akane Banashi. Witch Watch has been going on a little longer, so I'm still a little behind. But I'm approaching 100 chapters in each after this round of reading. I am enjoying Akane Banashi a lot. I think it's a very fun series. And I have a soft spot for its art. Witch Watch I'm enjoying too. I think this recent batch of chapters has been fun. It's still primarily gag series up to this point. So, it's still doing pretty well. I don't see it here. Did it end? Did I miss it? I have a list of the Jump series that are currently running right now. And I'm not seeing, am I bugging? I'm not seeing Witch Watch. I don't know if Witch Watch ended. Maybe it's on break or something. Maybe I'm bugging. My bad. Let me see. But in any case, yeah, I'm enjoying a little bit more Akane Banashi. I think it's just more of a straightforward story. Things are happening in it, and although Witch Watch is funny a lot of the time, it is mostly a gag series. Okay, so it's just on break this week. Okay, so I'm still a little behind on it, but I'm having a decent time reading it. Hopefully, I'll be caught up with one of them by next week, probably Akane Banashi, and then I'll probably start Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi, because I started reading that a little bit, and I actually found it enjoyable. So I'd like to go back to it. And yeah, that is currently my journey. Right now, I am caught up with, not counting the stuff that we cover for the show, I'm caught up with 1, 2, 3, not 3. So 2 series so far. Should be 3, but Assassin Family, not Assassin Family. Damn, I already forgot it. But the family, not Spy Family, but it's a different Spy Family.
What the fuck?
Oh, Yokozuna.
Yeah, Yozakura Family. I caught up to that right at the end of the series. So, but I'm caught up on 2, and that's Ichi the Witch and Blue Box, which have been fun. I still like those series.
Do you think Yokozuna from One Piece has origins in Wano, like his family's from Wano?
Maybe. He does do the sumo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. Brian, have you been reading anything or watching anything?
I'm up to date on Embers. Soccer manga. Pretty good. I will say though.
Ember's red, right?
No, it's just called Embers.
Why are you mad at that?
I'm going to get water. Go ahead, Brian.
I think it's a pretty decent series. I feel like it's on fast forward right now. The series is moving really fucking quick.
Well, I'll tell you why, Brian. It's not doing well in the polls.
Which is a shame because it feels like it would be a pretty decent manga.
At this very moment, it is 19th out of 20.
Oh, that's not good at all.
Yeah, and
That's sad.
20th is a series that just got canceled, and that's Super Psychic Policeman JoJo. So that got canceled. Embers is on thin ice, I feel.
That's a shame. The series is pretty
Thin Fire, you mean?
It's what?
Thin Fire, you mean?
No, but I'll take it because of the fire pun.
You could say it's on the hot seat.
I'm going to type that down as a potential title, Thin Fire.
No, that was tough. That was super tough.
It was tough. It was tough.
That was super tough.
I think it's a good title.
Not tough for the series, but that was a tough, that was a good bar.
Thin Fire. Okay. So, all right. Well, hopefully it survives. I mean, I would love to have a sports manga in this series. It's so rare these days. The last long-running one was Haikyuu, I think. Blue Box, if you want to count it, because it is a sports series, but I think it's more 80-20 sport, romance and sports.
Is Dogs Red a weekly?
Dog's Red is in another magazine, I think, and that's a hockey manga by the guy who made Golden Kamui. I'd like to read it at some point. But all right, well, I suppose we should move on to the show proper, right, boys?
I'm sorry, I'm not done. I have a theory. I think Embers is actually really good.
You have not read a single word of it.
No, never. I'm just going off of that. But in my opinion, it's like this. It's no way it's that unpopular when you have other series like Spy X Family out and
Spy Family is not a Shonen Jump series.
And Witch Watch. You know what I'm saying? So
damn, why are you saying
I think
Witch
it's
Watch
actually
for?
propaganda.
Why'd you do that? Why'd you do that for Witch Watch?
It's okay.
Why'd you come for Witch Watch?
I think it's propaganda constructed by the creator of Blue Lock and Blue Box because they don't want to see Embers rise.
Well, Witch Watch
end up being their rivals.
Witch Watch
to be a red versus blue like school situation. He doesn't want to risk his series losing in that situation and crossover.
Witch Watch is fairly high. Witch Watch. Oh my god, what the hell did I do? Sorry, I accidentally poked the soundboard there. And I hit a Chewy ad. No, actually, Witch Watch is pretty high up. It's 6th 2 weeks ago when it was out. So, Witch Watch is doing well. I'd like to do this as a segment. I don't know where to fit it really, but the current rankings and where we are with certain manga. Like One Piece
could just do it at the
intro.
Start of every show.
Yeah, One Piece is 3rd place this week. Under Ichi the Witch and Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi.
What?
Blue Box is 4th.
Ultimate Exorcist Kyoshi.
Blue Box is 4th.
Oh, they had a color page this week. Okay, I get it.
They had a color page. It doesn't count.
I see.
Let me see.
Oh, it looks like some cool shit is going down. Not gonna lie to you.
It looks good. I liked reading it.
It looks like Shaman King and Soul Eater mixed.
Yeah, and it's doing really well. I think it's going to last a little bit, although it's very up and down according to the rankings. This was a number 1, but last week it was 15, and the week before it was 8. So I hope it sticks around. Honestly, if the Elusive Samurai can make it this far, although I haven't watched Elusive Samurai. Don't come for me, Elusive Samurai fans. But yeah, Sakamoto Days. Blue Box is 4th. Kagurabachi is 5th. So
Ichi the Witch was 2nd?
Yeah, Ichi the Witch was 2nd.
What the fuck happened?
Sakamoto Days is 6th. Akane Banashi is 7th. Hima 10 is 8th.
Somebody's on their 4th orb. What the fuck? That's not good.
4th orb?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Where do you see that?
Somebody's powering up. Like,
oh,
apparently.
Ichi the Witch, yeah.
Like, yeah.
They're in the middle of an arc right now.
Yeah, he didn't lose his sanity. Like, the person got the 4th orb and didn't lose his sanity. So I guess it's a power up that makes you more, like, lose your mind.
Yeah.
And he powered through it. It's
yeah,
cool.
I'm not going to spoil it right now. I'm not going to spoil it right now. But yeah, just a quick run through of the rankings. I always wanted to do that as a segment on the show. But maybe when I catch up to every single series in Jump currently running, I'll have more to say about why I think everybody ranks where they are. That would be fun.
Okay.
But I don't anticipate that any soon. If I were to really try and catch up, I'd have to read manga for a couple hours a day in order to catch up to everything. Can I do it? Probably. Maybe I'll do that someday. If I have a day off, maybe I'll just dedicate a work day to just reading manga.
You finished reading Blue Box already? Like you're caught up?
Yeah, I'm caught up on Blue Box. I'm still caught
whose
up.
birthday is it?
Whose birthday was it? I didn't read this chapter. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't read this chapter yet. I usually save that for after the show, and I catch up on everything else. But all right, we should actually get the show started.
It's Taiki's birthday today.
Oh, word.
Taiki.
Oh, that's the main character.
Mhm.
Well, thanks for spoiling it. Anyway, we should actually start the show. Here we go. One Piece. This is One Piece chapter 1151. I get the idea, triple exclamation points. We have a cover page story continuing. All of a sudden, after everything that happened with Yamato saving the kidnapped folks of Udon from Who's Who and delivering the Don Yasui sword from to his grave, Yamato is now participating in a sumo match. And in the back, we see Kawamatsu, the Kappa swordsman there. And that's fun. They're partaking in a tournament. Yamato is continuing his journey, and hell yeah. This chapter opens up after all hell breaks loose. Imu has now popped up on the scene while Yamato is just fucking around and having fun. Elbaf is about to be brought down to ruins. Dorian Bragi and a number of other giant pirates have been Domi reverse-eyed by Imu, who has taken over Gunko's body and is wreaking havoc with it. So Kashi from Annie's Lobby, the giant that used to work there, is begging his captains to stop attacking and to not kill Chief Ja Rule. But they're like, the warrior we once admired has grown old and feeble, so it's time to force him into retirement. And then we will be kings of Elbaf. There's no need for the god of Elbaf anymore. We will bring the Age of War back. And everybody's like, no. And they find out that they're actually in between two of the giants, and that makes it possible for the Domi Reversi to take place. So I guess it works on Go rules. And one of the giants that gets stuck in between Dory and Bragi gets flipped over, and he becomes a demon man himself. So
for what it's worth, I just looked it up now. There's a literal game called Reversi.
Yes.
Or otherwise known as Othello, which is like a variant of checkers.
Oh.
In a way. Yeah.
So I guess that's the pattern it's falling under. So yeah, there's just another giant being held up. The kids are asleep at the moment, and as they're walking, they're continuing their path, and they hear in their sleep yelling about demons, and so they start to dream about demons. And in the nightmare hold created by Killingham, demons start to emerge, and that just multiplies the shitstorm that Elbaf has become. It's not good. But then we get to see Killingham's man beast form. We actually the dragon guy looks like, I didn't expect him to look this menacing, but I guess he does.
Me neither. This shocked the shit out of me. I thought this was a brand new person, but then it said his name right there.
Yeah, Saint Killingham, the dragon fruit mythical type Kieran. I guess his bottom half, when he's in his man beast form, like in theory, the full form would be the top half being that dragon thing, and the bottom half being this horse thing.
Is that a thing? Is that a real thing?
It's
in
not.
mythology?
I have no idea. Brian, can you look up a Kieran and see if it kind of
It's like a lightning god thing.
I've not seen it before. I should have actually looked it up before the show.
It's one of Sasuke's moves.
Oh,
Remember?
Kieran. Dragon.
I'm looking it up right now.
Oh
Okay,
yeah!
so-
Wow.
It's a body of a deer, tail of an ox, and a single horn.
Wow.
It's a yokai. Whoa.
A paragon of virtue, the Kirin supposedly appears in times of good government.
Its symbolism and belief is benevolence and justice. Okay.
So that nigga ain't never pulling up to America.
Not once.
Never.
No.
Definitely not Israel either.
No. It's not good.
Shit.
So we have Killingham running through, joining his nightmare creations. We now continue onward. It's all hell breaking loose. The other Straw Hats are still stuck. Usopp is yelling out to his would-be heroes, but they can't hear him because they are on demon timing, so to speak.
Yeah. Quite literally.
It's not looking good. So what's his face? I forget his name. Summers. He asks Emu how far they should go, and Killingham mentions that the playing board is entirely in our color.
The Othello board.
The Othello board. And Gunko says that they'll continue until the heart of Elbaf breaks. The country should have been subjugated years ago, if not for Harold's miserable failure. More lore, lore, lore. Lore, 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 lore.
Lord.
Lore.
I forgot to mention in the updates, I watched a 15-minute YouTube video talking about these crazy killer roaches on Mars that are like twice the size of human beings and super duper buff. It was based on a manga series.
Gantz? Isn't that what Gantz?
So.
Isn't that what Gantz is about? I'm not the Gantz expert.
I know it's just
Gantz?
totally random.
Giant cockroaches in space, right?
No, that's,
Yeah, they're in Mars.
no, that's there's another fucking. I know what you're talking about. It's a different
Yeah,
anime.
they made a live action movie for that shit, and it's crazy, yo.
Meanwhile, while Brian looks that up, I guess we cut to many minutes earlier. As,
Terraform Mars.
oh yes, I do know that one. I knew that
There you
title.
go.
Anyway, so many minutes earlier, we see
Terraform Mars, yeah.
Scopper after being freshly arrow impaled, and Chopper following behind him. Chopper didn't think this through. He is panicking as he's falling, and he then it just comes to him. He tries to fall ahead of Scopper, and he uses his guard point to create a super soft cushion for them to all fall on and to break Scopper's fall. We cut back to our boys. It's Luffy and the gang. The entire gang is there. Loki is seemingly in better spirits, although he is still recovering. They're in the middle of arguing Loki and Hajuden, but Luffy breaks up the conversation by saying, "Hey, Chopper just fell from above." And they ask, like, "Hey, did you see him?" He's like, "No." But how did I know it was Chopper? His observation hockey's
That hockey.
that observation hockey's getting stronger. Woo. And he says that there's someone else with him, but they're weakened. And there's this cool 2-page spread of all the guys looking cool as hell. Luffy's got a big bead on the bone, just taking a chomp out of it. Sanji is like, that sounds like a pretty bad fall. Did they fall from the sun world above? And Zoro says, we got to search for him. So they head out. Goldberg seems to stay behind with Luffy, and Goldberg and Gerd. They seem to stay behind with Loki, rather. Sorry, I think I said Luffy. And they're, just like, they're asking, but we're not unlocking your cuffs, Loki. And he's like, damn.
Damn.
And then he gets a mysterious call from that mysterious person on the Dandadan Mushi, and he's like, hello, okay. He's like, and then he's like, right, listen, Shaggy, I'm busy right now. I'll call you later. And the snail phone is like, don't worry, it won't take long. As a matter of fact, I'm busy too. Just one thing. And he's like, it's fine. Just keep your voice down. And he tells Loki that he wasn't able to tell him that earlier, but he won't be able to call him for a while. He says, at first I found it frightening, but the more more I talk, more you and I talked, the more our conversations became a source of solace to me. So I wanted to express my gratitude. And you're like, hey, don't tell me you're in danger again somehow. And he's like, I'm fine. Don't worry. I just wanted to say thank you for everything. And then he hangs up. Who is this guy? Who is he?
Are you saying that as part of your review of the chapter, or are those your genuine thoughts?
Both.
Okay, because I was already typing up something so that I wouldn't forget to ask, but I'll ask now. What are the chances that this is someone that we already confirmed to know? Like, we know already that we've met before in One Piece. What are the chances?
I'm trying to look at the snail phone and see who it could be.
That's got to be a hint. It has to be.
It's a shaggy individual. Guy with a beard.
Garp?
No, it won't be Garp. Garp doesn't have a beard, I don't think, even. He has like a goatee.
Garp dying? Okay.
Who could it be? Anyway, I can't.
No theories, Brian?
Hey, Brian, what are the streets
Zero
saying?
theories.
Damn.
I don't even know what the streets are saying about it either.
Damn.
I haven't kept up
Yo,
with the
if it's
streets.
Shiki, I
Gold
feel
line
like
Shiki?
I had to take your L away. I wouldn't take
Imagine.
Chris's W away.
Yeah,
but
that
I
would be a
take
draw.
your L away.
That would be
No. You still get the win, but he loses his L. Just off the strength of him showing up. I think that's fair. Because you were still right. You still won.
Oh, I
But
was
I wanna
right.
remove the
I did
penalty.
win.
Yeah.
No,
but this would remove the penalty
I keep the
from losing.
W and he keeps the L. The bet was that he was specifically that Scopper was Shiki, not that Shiki was around on the island.
No passion. No compassion for your little brother.
I love my brother, but you know,
He's really serious about
The
his
game is the game.
wrong burgundies.
the game is the game, buddies. I wouldn't expect the mercy from you guys. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, so we don't know who this is, but he hangs up, and the other two giants that are there, Goldberg and Gerd, are looking at him, and he's like, "What are you looking at?" And she's like, "Well, I'm just glad you have a friend to keep you company down here. It's lonely in the underworld." And Loki yells at Gerd to not tell anyone. We see the new giant pirates come back. I think they have Scopper and Chopper. I didn't realize how much that rhymed. They're yelling to Gerd to prepare their medical supplies because Scopper's hurt badly. And Luffy's looking down on him. He's like, "Hey, everybody loves this guy, huh? You're lucky that Chopper was here. Good job, Chopper." And Chopper's like, "You can't butter me up, you jerk." Doing his little bashful thing. And we have some time. We cut to a short time later, and Luffy is freaking out because he just learned that Scopper Gaban was one of the Pirate King's crew and that he sailed with Roger and Rayleigh. They explained that he and the Dark King are known as the wings of the Pirate King, and they assume that he is the third strongest on the crew. And there's a moment where Scopper wakes up from his coma to be like, "Second strongest." And they're like,
That's my favorite moment of the whole comic.
Yeah, he was like, he seemed really fixated on that detail. It's very funny. But Scopper's okay. But he'll obviously be out of commission for this arc. So Chopper then explains what was going on up in the Sun World, and they feel, as he's explaining, that he feels the hockey come down, and at that moment, everybody, the big three at the same time, Hajuden, Luffy, and Loki all together react to the hockey. Hajuden tells everybody to get back on the lift because they're returning to the Sun World. Luffy says, "Save your breath, Chopper. I get the idea." And Loki starts laughing, and he's like, whose preposterous hockey is that? Doga! Looks like you're gonna need me after all. And that's where the chapter ends. Holy moly. Josh, what did you think about One Piece chapter 1151?
This was my favorite chapter of the week, and it was fucking close.
Yeah.
It was close.
It is for me as well. Brian, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
Unified, really good really good chapter of the week for One Piece.
Unified RGC. Unified RGC. Unified RGC.
Go on, Josh.
Is the Kagurabachi glaze finished from the Espinal Bros?
No, it isn't.
Is it finally done?
I wouldn't say all that, but
Okay. Well, say about this chapter. That I haven't already kind of mentioned. I want to talk about. No, I want to talk about Killingham. He looked so goofy before.
mm-hmm.
I actually really like that design. I really like that he was just this. He looks so intense here. He looks like it's not that he looks different; it's that he looks like his personality switched too. Almost like he got reversied. I don't think that's what happened, but that's what it feels like.
Mm.
I don't think that the celestial dragons have had that done to them at all. I think they believe that they are that way because I think they behave the way they do because that's how they was raised and brought up. That's simple. But anyway, I have thoughts about how I'm just so curious on how this arc is going to unfold, and I think I'm more curious about this arc compared to like more recent ones because this is something planned. Wano was planned far ahead too, but I think like there wasn't this grand. How do I put it?
It was built up.
It was kind of like it was pumped up. Easy to take it like day by day with Wano, and learning about the country. Where Elbaf, it kind of just feels like the stage is set, and as soon as they started, as soon as we got just a little bit acquainted with the characters, boom, shit hit the fan in the most intense way. This is damn near Egghead all over again.
Right?
These are some intense conflicts.
Yeah, ever since Luffy became an emperor, it's been nonstop. They've been pursuing him to a very aggressive degree.
There's no admirals here.
Nope.
No elders. But knights. What are they called?
Holy Knights.
Holy Knights. The Scapa knew about them. But I don't know. I guess I'm just droning on. Brian, what were your thoughts?
Goddamn. It's so good to get a nice little hype moment at the end. Everybody kind of finally back involved in the story. I can imagine that it's still going to take them a little bit of time to get into the mix of things. So maybe the rest of the crew will still have a little bit of a shine before the main event shows up. But goddamn, this is one hell of a fucking squad to be pulling up. You know what I mean? Like Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Loki, Hydrogen. Like, come on. The moment that these guys show up, it's pretty much done. Like, unless the things get way, way worse somehow. I can't imagine it gets like somebody else is gonna show up and be a bigger deal at this moment. But yeah, that right there sold the whole chapter for me, was the end of that. And I really missed Luffy. I keep forgetting how much I miss Luffy until he's on screen. He's just He's probably the best main character of all time, in my opinion. He's just so fucking lovable and likable and uniquely himself. I mean, so it's just good to see him. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I really like this chapter going in, but what really pushed it over the edge was seeing Luffy and the gang again, and especially this last page where they basically looked at us and was like, "It's hype time. Get ready." You know. So I'm very excited to see how this turns out. I agree with Brian that it might take a minute, maybe a chapter or two before they actually come in and swoop in and save the day. But I am so hyped to see how this turns out. There are, Killingham has a cool design, although he reminds me of Katakuri a little bit in the face. His hair is different, obviously, but yeah, he's very Katakuri.
Yeah, with the spiky teeth.
Yeah.
Was Katakuri a fishman or something?
He was a fishman. I don't remember what type, but he was a fishman. So yeah, that's cool to see. Usopp getting a little bit of a moment here where he's like yelling to his people. I'm just like, I feel like they haven't forgotten him. I know Usopp's gonna do something here. I feel like the streets have expressed extreme dissatisfaction with how Usopp is being handled, and I don't know what they want. I don't know if they want Usopp to come in and solo Emu right now.
I don't know what they want, but what they need is patience.
Yeah, we're not. I don't know if we're. I'm sorry, but I don't know if we're gonna get a moment where Usopp does something in a battle sense to save everyone.
He blew up Gunko.
He did. He blew up Gunko. He blew her up from the from the torso up. You know, he is capable of dealing serious damage, but not many people can deal serious damage against these guys. And it's not. It doesn't matter how strong they are. You know, it takes a very specific level of hockey to do it. Apparently, according as we've seen with Scopper. So. You know, it's very possible that Luffy goes up and he's relatively ineffectual for a while. So, you know, I'm not expecting Usopp to save them in a battle sense where he defeats someone, but I do think Usopp will be instrumental in breaking them from this curse. That's my thing. And I could be wrong about that. I'll trust it. But I think Usopp is meant to break Dory and Broggy out of this, if they are going to be broken out of this. I still have the theory that they'll probably be taken and end up in the final battle, and then maybe Usopp saves them then. But I can't imagine that Usopp won't have some kind of vital way to save everyone in this case.
Yeah, I'm so on board with what you're saying, and I want to take it even a step further and say Usopp's moment, I believe, is going to be in the form of how he influences the Giants and Elbaf in general through the course of, like, you know, the next whatever events that follow. I think ever since Usopp left his home and went through like a few arcs with them. I'll even say just went to Skypiea with them, or even at the Arlong Park, right? He was a brave warrior of the sea. I think you would agree with that. I think Brian, I think almost everybody would agree. Like, Usopp already was that. So, you know, it's like he felt like he wanted to go to Elbaf and then learn from the Giants how to be this like warrior of the sea, when he's always been that, and he did that his own way. And I think that's what he's going to show to, if not, you know, all the Giants, probably the younger generation, and that they can be mighty and brave in more creative and inventive ways. And it doesn't have to be all about violence, because Usopp's an inventive guy. He's very passive.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I think his section is going to boil down to.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who dunk on Usopp are relatively new readers.
Yeah.
People who haven't spent a lot of time week to week. because One Piece has exploded in popularity in the last couple of years. So a lot of people are consuming One Piece in bulk, and they're not used to just week by week and the patience that it takes to really to see how Oda really develops his characters, because this is a long journey. Not by chapter count, but in general, it's very painstaking. The reason it's so long is that he does take his time to really flesh it out, and the changes are incremental. Usopp is braver than he was pre-time skip. He was braver than he was when he first set out to sea. He's done things that he would never have done back in the day. So, you know, it's the little things that matter in One Piece. The little changes, the little things you notice that inform the story later. You know, appreciate the little things. I promise.
Agreed.
Usopp will have some kind of hype moment, and it will probably be played for laughs for the most part, because that just is who Usopp is. But he's not going to be the strong guy. If there's one thing that Oda has confirmed, is that Usopp is not going to receive a massive power jump, because his whole story is to remain just a regular guy who has seen everything and who has gone up against these giants and dangerous government people and other pirates. And, you know, that's his story. It's just any one of us is Usopp. How we would fare as we are right now is how we would fare on the seas of One Piece. So
Not me. I'm built different.
yeah, Brian's different. Brian would probably be more of a Zoro. He'd probably like slash through everybody, and it doesn't matter.
Nah, I'm Luffy.
But what was that beat? But yeah, if Oda gives me a good enough hype moment, it is very high chance that I will rank it the RGC. And this was a pretty cool hype moment, and that was really what pushed it over the edge for me. But yeah, that's all I got to say about One Piece. So good. Very good. Are we ready to move on? Do we have any rebuttals?
No, sir.
Okay, let's move onward.
I hope he turns his sword into some guns.
Sakamoto Days. This is Sakamoto Days, chapter 216, Tunnel. Last we left off with Sakamoto Days, Shin has been 1v1ing X and has been doing everything he can to just not die. It's all he could do to just not immediately perish. But his luck seemingly ran out, as in the last page of the previous chapter, Shin seemed to have gotten his head cut off. And we open with the result of that. And man, didn't see this one coming. He did in fact the sword did in fact go through his neck. But then we see a 2-page spread where Atari, the ESP master and luck person extraordinaire, has been grabbing onto Shin. And we see that Shin's head is noticeably still on his shoulders. Atari is like, I'm glad I made it in time. And he's like, what are you doing here? Wait, more importantly, he just slashed me. How am I still alive? And then Atari explains the tunnel effect. And the tunnel effect is a phenomenon in which a particle can penetrate a barrier greater than its own energy, even though the odds are infinitesimal. So the particles of Shin's body and the sword miraculously not managed to not collide. This is, I feel like, the Flash thing where he can vibrate through walls. That just happened out of pure luck between Shin and X. You're already shaking your head. Are you muted?
What are you wearing on your head?
A cap.
There's a lot of it in this manga chapter. Whole lot of cap.
A whole lot.
Whole lot of suspension of disbelief.
So Atari goes on to explain that no matter how minuscule the chances, if something is technically possible, That's where luck comes into play. And she said that Shin replied, but you said you only had a tiny bit of luck left. And Natari's like, yep, and I just used the last of that tiny bit, which is why I'm sorry about this, Shin, but we're now left with some major bad luck. And we get another 2-page spread where the other members of the order pull up behind Shin. And that's not good. I think Oki is splashing in the water, like he's kicking up extra high in his walk,
Yes.
like in a whimsical way, which is funny. So the entire
He
order
looks
is
so hardcore.
Yeah,
On the
he-
next page.
that detailed drawing of his face. The entire order is here, and they're not happy. Torres is like, "What's this? How come we're all at the aquarium? What a bizarre coincidence." So it's not looking good. Everybody's just kind of explaining, that they all got there, and that it's all a twist of fate that they all arrived at the exact same time. And Tanabata, he gets asked by Torres, is like, I was playing the sea yarn and suddenly had a hankering to smell the sea. How about you, Tanabata? And Tabata, the guitar guy who strummed boiled like a guitar, just thought to himself, no reason. I just planned on visiting the aquarium today a while back. Do I really need a reason to visit the aquarium? I don't get it. When I get home, I'll write a song about this.
What an edgelord tsundere. What the fuck?
I love this guy.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's very funny. So what's going on here? And it's not looking good. The order immediately attacks. Magnet Girl pulls down the metal wire holding up a life-size recreation of a whale, and she just tosses it at Shin and Atari, knocking them into the next room. They are getting jumped
He
bad.
tanked that shit, though. I'll tell you this.
He did tank the whale.
He just like that. The funny thing about that is that in Marvel Rivals, Namor, his special, he throws a big ass whale at you.
Yeah. Oh, really? That's funny.
Yes, I'm dead ass serious.
Well, we know that Shin would survive it. So
Yeah.
Shin and Atari, they both got hit, but they both made it, and they're getting jumped pretty badly. Taurus immediately sprays him with the sand gun, and you can see just like the burn marks of the sand, just like the friction of it, just destroying him, scratching his face up.
Dunzo.
Not looking good. And Atari asks Shin to kill her, and she says, "You're in the crossfires of my bad luck. If I die, there's a chance you may live. You saved me, so I want to save you." And Shin goes, "That ain't my problem. I made a promise to Mr. Sakamoto that I'd protect everyone until he's back. Besides, Atari, you've got it all wrong. You got to make your own luck to survive in this world." And all the members of the order pull up to Shin, and he's like, "How do you think a worm like you has any chance of survival?" And then Shin thinks to himself, "Wait a second. There's one way to get out of this." And that's where the chapter ends. Whew. This was a close one, man. This was a really cool chapter. But Josh, what did you think about Sakamoto Days, chapter 216?
I'm going to have a moment of vulnerability with you guys for a moment. And I guess for everybody else who listens to this podcast and may ever listen to this episode. But I'm going to make a statement and then I have a question. This is the statement. This metallic chick, the magnetic chick, her fit, very sexy. Like, very, very sexy. Like, I need to see that, with my girl. Like, I want to see her in some
This cosplay?
sexy underwear and a leather jacket.
I'm trying to
And
find
then
a
those
full
things around the legs, the thighs, or the garters, I think they're called.
Garters.
I mean,
Garters?
I think that's what it's called. Garters, yeah. I mean, damn. With the high fucking leather boots. Yeah.
It's a good look for sure.
It is. It's very fine. And here's my question, right? Here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
It's a two-part question. Number one, does that make me a gooner?
Well, there's only one question that can answer that, and it feels a little personal.
Really?
Have you-
Brian, what do you think?
Yeah, you're a gooner.
Okay. So
Damn, that
this
was
is
so
my next
definitive.
question. All right, this is my next question. Are there mangas that are more inherently goon friendly, or
Yes.
gooner coded
Yeah.
like than others? Is that what we would call fan service?
Yeah, the more fan service heavy ones are very are goon approved.
Goontastic, if you
Goon
will.
certified.
Yo, so I'm gonna share one last thing. All right, Marvel Rivals is a gooner game.
Yes,
It is. It is. It's without a doubt.
Yeah, I've seen
I
those
don't think
videos of
any
Emma
serious
Stone, Emma
player
Frost.
would ever deny that.
I've seen those videos of Emma Frost. That's gooner shit for sure. That alone.
Like the choking shit.
Yeah, I was like, man, the gooners have taken over for sure.
Oh my god, it's bad, bro. It's bad. It's bad. My own friends, I'm not even saying any names. My own people I be online with, they certain things I keep in my mind. You know what I mean? But these niggas they just saying it. They're like, yo, Psylocke, pull up to me real quick. Let me see. And it's like, yo, that might be a whole nigga on the other side of the fucking line.
Wait, they're telling other players this?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yo, I watched
insane.
this video.
What do you mean?
So I watched this video where this guy was like harassing this Luna Snow player.
That's
He had
insane.
Iron Man. He kept flying like chasing her, trying to do this air hump shit. Right?
That's
that he do.
insane.
And then she finally spoke, and he was like, "Wait, you're a girl?" And she was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, no thanks, I'm good." Yo, these niggas is weird. He was like,
Wait,
shit.
I'm confused.
Yo, so one of the other guys was like, "Oh nah, I only like boys," and then the other person was like, "Yeah, don't tell my homies I was."
But
I
wait,
was
if
saying
he
that
only
to you."
likes boys, then why is he going up to the female
Yo,
character?
it's just so weird. I don't understand. Yeah, they're gonna do it to a girl character, but they're like, "Oh no, I'm only gonna do it if it's actually a guy on the other end."
Wow. This is
This
is transcendent
That was
levels
just
of
one video,
goonery.
but that shit was hilarious, yo. These motherfuckers is weird. I have, like I said, my own real life teammates have had shared moments of gooning, but not the shit that I be seeing like niggas make YouTube and Instagram.
They've partaken in goonery.
Yeah, they partake a bit.
That's insane to me. What do they get out of this?
Brian knows.
I don't
He knows
understand.
exactly what I'm talking about. He's being very
knows
silent
what?
because he's.
Have you guys
he's
ever
having
been-
flashbacks?
Have you guys ever been gooned at? Were you victims of goonery?
No, thankfully not. I don't use any goon-friendly characters. I use Rocket and Hulk, so I only got to worry about the furries. Honestly.
Unless
I only got to worry about
people are really into Captain America.
I would imagine they would
Yeah,
be.
you'd be good. Yeah, you're fine. We
I
don't
guess
use
it's a female
goon-friendly characters.
Yeah. That's insane though.
I would argue they're almost anti-goon.
Yeah.
You look at Captain America, and you don't have not one sexual thought in your mind. It's just straight justice and righteousness.
He's too
It makes you
pure.
want to sign up for the military when he uses his ult.
He's too pure. I only want to pull up my bootstraps whenever I'm around Cap.
Yeah, and I'm a whole leftist.
Yeah.
But when he pops ult and we wipe that team, or we get team off point, you know what I'm saying?
He's like every time
I just might sign up.
every time Captain America passes by, he's like, you know what? I think I could start a business.
Just starting it by yourself.
It's time for me to
Just
give
doing it
in.
yourself, man.
It's time for me to give into
Just grind.
capitalism.
Mhm.
Start a business. Underpay my employees.
Yeah, a good cap and rivals will definitely make you think about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Something that no normal person with a decent working brain, would ever admit to.
Yeah. Well, that was a fun exploration into goonery.
It
What
sure
else-
was.
what
I
are
don't
your
know
other
what else
thoughts?
I have to say about the chapter itself. It was great.
Yeah.
The fact that they all pull up to the aquarium and had their own reasons. That didn't need to happen. It would have been super cool if they was just tracking down X. They was like, oh, we seen that he was here, and so we pulled up to support him. That would have been okay. Anybody would have had an issue with that here? Raise your hand.
No.
Obama Snow? No, right? So, but he just said, nah, I'm gonna make this interesting. I don't buy that. I think that what happened is that now there's two realities, right? That converge, kind of like in like Marvel or whatever, like two timelines that converged. There's the normal timeline that's going on right now, that like where Shin actually died because there was that explanation made no fucking sense ever, right? And the author said, nah, or he comes up with something else at least. And then there's the converged timeline that we're on, where this happened. We're not in the good timeline anymore. And I'm worried. I am disappointed. Brian, what were your thoughts?
This was a silly chapter. Another silly chapter that made me laugh. Just the fact that, all right, so I was I would have been way more upset about the whole like ass pull neck slash thing. I would have been way more upset about that if it wasn't immediately equalized by the entirety of orders showing up and all of them having their own unique reasons as to why they're at the aquarium. For some reason, this reminded me of Christian. I feel like this is some shit Christian would come up with.
Me?
Yeah.
No.
I feel like this is like
Crash
up the
was
fucking
his favorite
alley.
movie.
Crash? No, it wasn't.
That's the one with all of the different stories.
Why would you?
Right.
Why would you cap on me like that? Why would you?
Well, it's
besmirch-
between that and A Clockwork Orange. One or the other.
Neither of those movies are my favorite movie. Neither of them. And you're gonna stop
But you
disrespecting.
do have to admit that at least one of the two are considered a cinematic masterpiece.
Yeah. Not for me, either of them.
It's objective. It's not a feeling.
It's not for me. You know, that's a subjective opinion. It could be for others. It's not for me.
Okay.
Were those all your thoughts, Brian?
Yeah, I don't have much else to say. It's fine.
This was very close. I think this was probably my second favorite. I'm not gonna lie. I had a really good time with this one. And it's like Brian said, I agree with him. I think like the fact that the order showed up was an equalizing force. And the chapter spells it out as much. You know, it's Shin did get extremely lucky, and it does seem like an ass pull, but it's offset by the equally improbable thing, a damn near equally improbable thing happening of all of these people having various stupid reasons for showing up at the aquarium despite being heartless assassins that don't like anything, not even each other. So, you know, I think it makes sense, and I didn't hate it. Honestly, I think it was more of a device to get the rest of the order there, more than anything. So
it was a nice reminder to not take this series seriously.
I agree with that.
It felt like the mangaka was like, hold up, before you get mad.
Honestly, yeah.
Before you get mad.
He said, I know what I'm doing.
Here, just remind yourself what you're reading right now.
Before you get on me right now, remember, I'm about to have a scene where a lady throws a fucking model whale at these people. Remember what you're reading. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I didn't hate it. I think a lot of people I've seen around talk about it. I didn't know this, but there's a comment section in the web version of Shonen Jump, and you can kind of see people's reactions. And a lot of people were like, "This is cap. It's bullshit." And I'm like, "That's a little bit the point." The whole point is that like Atari's powers, even in a small amount, can just pull off insane odds. But once she's out, the opposite bad luck is retributed upon them. There is a price to pay for very good luck, and it's immediate very bad luck, it seems. So I'm glad that was kind of rectified in that equalizing force kind of way. I'm excited to see how Shin gets out of this. It can't be another luck thing. So, He's already closed the door. It can't be another lucky thing. It has to be Shin making it out on his own ingenuity. So,
Yeah, he's going 1v20 on these guys.
yeah. At an aquarium where they all wanted to go and hang out for a little bit.
I guess you could say there's plenty of fish in this sea.
Yeah. I gotta have this queued up. I gotta be faster with these drops, bro. All right, but really that's all my thoughts. I thought this was a cool, funny chapter. I enjoyed it second most, so but I had a good time reading it. That's all I really have to say. There's not a whole lot story-wise to say outside of this. Shin taking up for Sakamoto is a cool moment, and I'm excited to see how he gets out of it. We ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Bloody cross.
Kagurabachi. And with that, I'm gonna pass this one over to Josh.
Hey, thanks, Chris. All right. Kagurabachi, chapter number 82. I'm going to save the name of the chapter to the end because that's when we get the title at the end. But I do know what it is. Anyway, last week, we got one hell of a fucking shock. Turns out Uraha was still alive. How is he alive? Because Samura's powers are fucking OP broken, and he can probably beat anybody in fiction with them. How foolish of I to have thought he could lose when he could defeat people of the likes of Dr. Manhattan, the Beyonders, the Sandman.
Is that what you think?
Probably Christian, Judeo-Christian God. You know what I'm saying? That's not how I genuinely feel, but I was salty. I'm trying to like, get back in that moment. Anyway, so yeah, Uraha came back alive to help save Hakuri at the Kuminabi headquarters, where they're currently being attacked by the Hishaku evil sorcerers. A whole bunch of bullshit's happening there. We'll get back to them. But starting with this week, we are back at the Kyoto Killer Hotel. I think the place was called.
I think that's what it's called.
Where Chihiro and Samura are about to face off. As Chihiro thinks to himself, all this time I wanted to believe it, but I couldn't be sure. Samura notices that Mini Masumi man just pulled up to the floor, and he tosses him the Kumayuri sword that hit
Shit. Hirohiko.
Dave, thanks. That Hirohiko dropped after getting his fucking arm sliced off by Samura. Pretty legit. Not for my agenda though. Anyway, so he tosses him the sword. He's like, "Yo, like, all right, take care of that." Hirohiko bounced. I didn't get the chance to kill him. He's still contracted to the sword, but at least they can't use it. And this is, after Chihiro had been thinking to himself, after noticing Samura's Phoenix abilities, he asks him, "Mr. Uraha is alive, isn't he?" Which shocks Mini Masumi, and Samura is silent. And now we cut to Uraha. He's thinking to himself, saying, I'm gonna cut this pretty short. Essentially, he's thinking back to what Samura told him about, right before he he supposedly killed him, that he was gonna burden this mission all on his own. And more or less what this boils down to, I'm gonna wait to the end. I don't want to jump the gun here. But Uraha understands that he wanted to take the mission of taking out the swordsman, at least in this way that doesn't kill the others, since he has a unique way of doing it. The issue with this, however, is that he couldn't possibly revive himself through the same technique, because if he was to die, his sorcery cuts off. The only reason Uraha and I guess Chihiro was able to survive is because he remained alive for his sorcery to take place. And he did that by implanting a piece of his spirit phoenix flame or whatever into them after he slashed Chihiro and Uraha. So yeah, that's how he did it. And that's when we get back to Uraha and here and Hikari. Chihiro, Uraha is like, I lost. At least let me protect this place while they're away. He says, I have faith in them, meaning Chihiro and the counter Samura force. Samura's like, so what if Uraha's alive? And Chihiro's like, yo, you intend to die alone. Like, you're going to sever all the other contracts from the swordsman and then allow yourself to die in the process. And he's like, more than anything, the possibility that the malediction, we need a drop for like every time they say that.
Malediction.
Malediction. Right? It sounds so evil. And the power of the enchanted blades will wreak havoc in the future is my greatest fear. I know you feel the same. You don't need to stop me. I'll kill the sword master. And Chihiro's like, yes, I feel the same. As they clash swords. I didn't think they was about to fight. I thought they was about to just talk it out and chat. Thank God. And Chihiro's like, basically like, look, like, you want to save people's lives no matter what you're going through, and I feel the same. I want to save your life no matter what. Like, we have to figure out a way to do this. And Samura knocks Chihiro into a room and then closes the door. And then one of the coolest panels of the week, Chihiro, I don't know if he actually goes. Yes, he does. He peers. No, I don't think he walks straight up to the door. He's just like guessing, right? But we see like a perspective of like, through the people at the door, Samura charging up his white purity style slash. Looks fucking epic.
So cool.
Yeah, probably gonna be the thumbnail for the YouTube for this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you could use the Chihiro one. That shit is sick too.
Chihiro one is hard because
yeah,
there's text on it. So it's a little extra work to get rid of it. But maybe.
Oh, I see. Could you keep the text?
It doesn't look right with it.
Oh, whatever. Yeah. Anyway. So he all right. Chihiro anticipates that Samura is like charging up this move and close the door so that like Chihiro wouldn't be able to predict where he's coming from. But Chihiro's like, fuck that. I'm gonna stand my ground and just charge up my move too. Like my EA shit with N10. And as soon as Chihiro makes a gulp, Samura like hears it and is able to like pinpoint where Chihiro is through the door. And in an immense force of sheer power, slashes through the door and blasts Chihiro out the fucking door. Like, he directs the whole room from the force of the impact and clashes swords with Chihiro as they're flying off out of the building. As Chihiro yells, I'll show you here and now. As we finally get the name of the chapter, 82, N10 verse Tobemune.
Wow. Shikes.
Shiest indeed, my friend. All right, Brian, what were your thoughts?
This was really close to being my RGC.
Same.
This was like,
Chris can't say that because he said something else was the second best.
Frankly, I don't know why I was bugging, but I won't take it back.
One Piece made a bee's dick a difference between
A bee's dick.
this and RGC.
I've never heard that before. That's so funny.
Yo.
A bee's dick of difference. I
Is
wish
that
I could
the
use that as a title. I don't think I can.
We can't. Can you just put a B's D?
A bee's D of difference? I could.
You're gonna know.
I feel
People
like I
gonna
can do
know.
that. Maybe if I
They're gonna
censor
know.
it, I put D,
Yes.
hashtag
yeah.
star. Yeah. All right. Hell yeah. That's the time, man. Thin Fire, but whatever. We'll talk about it after the show. Go for it, Brian.
Honestly, this chapter didn't feel as clean when it comes to the way that he does his like retroactive storytelling with like flashbacks and shit. It wasn't the most like organized chapter, but goddamn, it still got the job done. It was pretty fucking sick. Coming back to seeing Chihiro and Uruha. Oh, not Uruha. Chihiro and Samura. But goddamn, that panel of them launching each other out of the building was so beautifully drawn. And on top of that, I like the like attention to detail for certain things. I don't think not Uruha. I don't think Samura closed the door. I think the force of him slamming Chihiro through the door caused it to swing back and close itself. Is what I think.
Maybe.
And then Samura was just like, all right, the door's closed. I'm just gonna prep through it. And this is the second time that they've done this whole, or a third time. Is this the third time they did the whole like looking through the
It wasn't a
hole?
peephole last time. Summer was just in the darkness.
But Chihiro was also looking. Oh no, not Chihiro.
He was far away. I don't think he's actually looking through the peephole.
No,
I think that's just
because the daughter was looking through the peephole earlier this arc while Chihiro was fighting. Remember?
Oh yeah.
So this is the second time they did that kind of POV thing. And it's pretty interesting that both of them were enchanted sword wielders. I think that's pretty interesting. But nah, man, like this chapter was so fucking sick. I love this series so much. It's so cool to see how everything kind of works itself out. But those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I was tweaking. I don't know why I didn't choose this one to be the second best. But Sakamoto Days, I mean, I guess is a testament to how good everything's been lately. I think we're at a high point in all the series that we're talking about. This was a tough one for me. But man, I mean, I think on a level of art, I think Hokuzono is doing some really cool things in terms of composition, and just creative. I don't even know the word for it really, but just the way he composes his panels and he lays out his art is pretty unique, and it's really cool. And it's honestly why I think manga art in particular is the best sequential art. I think there's like a lot of creativity on display with a lot of these artists, and Hokuzono is definitely no exception. So yeah, this was cool. The explanation for Uraha, I am going to take half credit because I did say that he is killing these guys. He's in a way that he's just trying to sever their contracts to save them. I think my one thing that was wrong particularly was that I said that he's severing their contracts so that he could give them to people he would be okay with dying alongside him. But I think his ultimate plan is to kind of bear the brunt of all the swords and then kill Shinichi Master so that only he and Shinichi Master would die. But I'm going to take a little bit of credit there. I called it last week. And nobody can take that away from me. Nobody can take it away from me. I have called it. I'll take it.
Got it. That's fine.
But I did enjoy this. I'm cool with Uraha being back. I'm actually excited Uraha's back. I did like his character, and I'm glad he's still around. I felt like he was taken from us too early, so I'm glad he's still around. I think Samura is going to be around for a while, buddy. I'm sorry. I feel more confident about it now than I have in the past. But I think there's going to be, not exactly this, but a little Sasuke Naruto thing going on here where Chihiro's trying to stop Samura from taking this on his own.
Chihiro.
Did I say Samura?
Say Yura.
Yura. Wow. How did I get that? Yeah, Chihiro, I mean, sorry. But yeah, it's either that or he dies here, which I think is still possible. I'm not ruling out the possibility, but I feel a little bit more confident in my bet more than I have in the little past.
Okay.
But you know what I
Well-
think is going to happen? You think how I know what I think is how I think it's going to go down if Samura dies?
You do it because I have my idea. Oh, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
So they're out of the building now. So it's possible they could take this fight anywhere. And it's possible they could end up right above where they're stealing the Shinichi. So big bad guy could take the Shinichi and then or free Shinichi Master, and Shinichi Master could kill Samura. And that's kind of the only way I see this going down. But that's
Okay.
my thought.
All right.
But you could go on, Josh. What are your thoughts?
So, all right, my thoughts are basically centered around. That's what I was gonna say anyway. This chapter was yet another roller coaster for me. As far as like, I almost sent you the white beard where he's handing the W. I almost sent it just 3 pages in. It, literally because, and that was right before they started squaring up to fight. I thought they was about to just talk no jutsu this shit, you know, and they was gonna go to samurai was gonna go separate ways, and that would have been it. Like if he would have died, it would have been in, you know, later at a later time in a different arc, you know, different situation. But they started to fight, and you know what? I didn't think too hard about the fact that they were outside, but I will say this: if they do take the fight outside, I think that does heighten the chances of him dying. I don't think they're gonna get by the Hishaku base though. I think they're really far.
Yeah,
from that shit.
it's possible.
I don't know personally, but I just think he's gonna get snuck. I think somebody else is gonna catch him, and my reasoning behind this is that the Hishaku, his daughter is still vulnerable right now. She's not with Chihiro. Chihiro's the strongest person they had holding her down. Who's to say more sorcerers can't come and get her? And even if you remove the girl from the situation, some other sorcerers could pull up on him and cause something to happen. I think. Remember, Yura said he was going to shoot 2 arrows. One at the base, one for the, going after the Shinichi, right? And the second one he didn't say. So I'm hoping, this is this whole Samura fight, and I guess this arc is blended now. It has to be the Samura Chihiro X Kumanami headquarters break-in arc, right? So when this whole thing resolves, we'll know. This is a real long bet. This might, I guess, who knows? Maybe it'll end in another 2 chapters.
No, I think it'll be a little bit still. I think we're probably in the climax, at least of this section, that's for sure. But the other section might take some time, so I think we're in the same kind of space still. The arc has to be over. They have to be moving on to a new adventure, so to speak, in order for the bet to be over.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't feel great though. Even like during this chapter, and mostly because I thought about the bet itself. I thought about, the reason I did it. I read up. I challenged you. You didn't say, "Oh, are you willing to put your?" I started. I said, "I think he's gonna die, and I'm willing."
Hey, I never start these things. I finish them.
Well, sometimes you'll say, "Oh, are you willing to make a Ron Burgundy bet about it?" But I'm the one that spurred this one on for sure, And I regret, and I don't know if I'm gonna. I did it because I thought I understood tropes, but I was being thirsty. I still think now that was a thirsty bet to make. And
you can still hit a buzzer beater though. I wouldn't. I'm not exactly going on a victory lap here. I just think my chances have increased by maybe 10%.
I have to be smarter about the next.
My
that I
thing
made.
is that the thing that gives me doubt is that Samura is too strong at this point,
Yeah, but doesn't that, you know
which
what I
would make
mean?
him a great antagonist going forward. But
Makes him a prime candidate to get smoked too, though,
it
don't you
does
think?
exactly. It makes him a prime candidate to die at some point
I
because he
think
is
that's
half a good guy.
I think that's the validation I'm seeking through like this bet is that like no, it's totally like this is something that like happens in manga and it'd be totally reasonable if he did die at this point. I don't think it'd be like oh they shouldn't have killed Summer off this early. I think it would serve a good you know point for the story.
Yeah.
His daughter could pick up the sword. We already know. I'm not gonna rehash everything. Anyway, I don't really have much more to say about the chapter. I gave a lot of my thoughts during the review and while you guys gave your thoughts too. But I mean, hell of a chapter. Yeah, definitely my second favorite also.
Nice. Alrighty. Well, with that being said, I suppose we should move on. Yeah.
You know what? I have a very, very late comment to make about One Piece. So One Piece spoilers for anyone just listening to just this part. But in the chapter, I was wondering when do you think Luffy would have wanted to go towards the island that he's seen that like that hockey coming from? Do
Yes.
you think he would have wanted to go to that island?
He felt the hockey just
He
now, and
seemed
he's like, "We
worried.
got to go up now."
He looked worried to me.
No, I think he was more like he's more worried for other people, not for himself.
What do you think, Brian?
Which lightning are you talking about?
The hockey that they
The
felt.
hockey.
Oh yeah, he's definitely going over there. You kidding me?
Of course, but I'm saying like it looked like he's nervous about it.
I think he's
No,
more
he has
nervous
to go
for
up
his
there.
crew. I think he's more nervous for the other people up there, but not facing it himself.
Yeah, that ain't not. Luffy's not the type.
So
to
with
get
that, so with that
nervous.
said, he probably wouldn't go towards that island with his crew,
Yes, he would.
right? He would just
What
tell them
island?
to stay back, and he would go. Just, I'm saying hype it. All right, because I'm
No, he
talking
would
about
go.
from. Remember the compass situation, or the log post situation when Luffy.
Oh
wanted to go
yeah, the
through
lightning island.
So I'm saying, well, that was one of the islands I know, but I'm saying that when they felt the hockey, the black lightning, like that conquers hockey, would Luffy have wanted to go to that island
Yeah.
if they didn't know what the hell? Yeah, and that's what I'm asking, Brian.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, anyway,
I think
So
if his
I'd
nerves came from if there are nerves, it's more that shit was popping off and he didn't know, so he doesn't know the status of his crew. But if he was
Yeah.
if he was together with his crew and he felt that hockey, he'd be like, "Let's go."
okay.
All right. Well, with that, let's move onward.
Bow, bow, bow.
Dandadan. And with that, I'm gonna pass this one over to Brian.
All right, we're in Dandadan mode. Okay, so the chapter picks up where we left off with giant worm machine gunning a bunch of fucking frozen sharks at a typhoon. Yeah, the sentence that I never thought I would ever have to say. And they it looks like the typhoon is starting to kind of strike back a little bit by kind of raising the winds or flinging sharks at it. Momo starts flying around and Jin chases after her to try to get her, but she is slightly out of reach, which causes her to fly off from the roof of the plane. And as she's kind of flying towards the like I guess the fin, like the tail of the ship, Zuma shows up in Umbrella Boy mode and catches her. And as he's kind of like trying to get back to the rest of the squad, he slips and Jin jumps out to try to grab him to make sure he stays on board. he asks where Momo is, and Zuma confirms that he has her. Um, looks like maybe his blindness is starting to wear off,
Mm.
which is pretty good. Pretty great news, one might say. Um, and we continue with the murderous trio shooting sharks at the fucking typhoon. Um, and they're kind of like, how many of these sharks do we got to shoot? How many? How many do we got to shoot at it? The bastard typhoon's not weakening one damn bit. And Momo kind of gives them the green light to keep on shooting at the sharks. And as they continue shooting at the sharks, I guess the nostrils from the typhoon shoots out two frozen sharks at the worm, blowing a hole in it. And it's kind of like barely standing. It is like there is like a thread of this worm attached to the plane. As we see that the sharks continuously jam up the typhoon's nose, and it shoots at them. But as the worm is like kind of detached from the plane, Momo uses her powers to grab onto the worm to keep it attached. And as that kind of happens, Jesus, this is insane. Like they, I guess, all start falling off of the plane. And everybody's kind of losing their shit. But Momo comes in clutch once again and kind of has her powers go through the body of the worm, out through its mouth, to make it so that it's flying, I guess. And Jin asks how Momo is doing it, and she says it's just like a carp windsock. The
Whatever that
worm's
is.
effectively a
Like a
tube
kite.
now, and she's using her so she used her power to punch a hole right through it. So it's flying like a kite. So she goes, "Hey, old bag, pull the head up." And she pulls. Oh my god! She pulls the head, and they start ascending, higher into the sky, and they kind of get like this huge view of the atmosphere from this raised height, and they enter the stratosphere, and oh my god, in a huge, beautifully drawn 2-page spread, literally inside of the eye of the typhoon is a giant fucking eyeball, which honestly I should have seen this coming. But goddamn, it looks so fucking beautiful. This entire 2-page spread with a legit eye, like a gigantic eye in the middle of this typhoon. And that's where the chapter ends. Josh, what are your thoughts?
I think this was a beautiful chapter. Like as far as like page by page art wise, it beat out Kagurabachi, which is tough, and it beat out Sakamoto Days, which is on fire this week too, as far as the art goes alone. This is an incredible situation, and I'm this worm is floating through the sky, and they got to the top of the storm and seen a literal eye. Of course, that right. I mean, did none of us say that was going to be the case, that there would be a literal eye?
You know, I was wondering where the eye was the entire time.
That's what we said. We was wondering, oh, there's got to be some eyes, right? And of course, at the top, it looks. This has to. The worm. I was so concerned when it got blasted. I was like, no. I'm invested in the
Worm
evil
son.
Not worm son. Yeah, but nigga, the nose blast from the sharks,
The snot rocket.
snot rockets. Oh my god, that shit did heavy damage. Blow, bursted through the that worm. Oh, what a great chapter. And I mean, the protagonist of this series, Momo-chan, she continues to be so clutch. She continues to be absolutely clutch. I love how the author uses, makes her really
Damn, dude, we really started to stumble at the end here.
damn, that's crazy.
That was nuts. What just happened there?
I don't know. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Awesome chapter. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, where do I even begin? I mean, this guy's imagination is crack levels. I wish I had the level of just don't give a fuckery that this guy has. When they say, just draw shit for you, I feel like he took that personal and totally did that forever. Because I don't even know how he came up with this shit. Jin is so cool. Not Jin, sorry. I don't know why I called him that. But Zuma is so cool. Umbrella Man, that shit, when he popped up from the ship's cabin, and then he used the umbrella, and then it twisted around until it like brought Momo down to his hand. Fucking cool. His design is edge in the best way possible. I think Zuma is like one of my favorites of this series. The snot rocket nose sharks things, that was really funny. It's just creative. I'm kind of in awe of the creativity that Dandadan has sometimes in their situations, because who thinks of this shit? What are you smoking? But yeah, and this 2-page spread, it's funny enough that this is a ridiculous situation, but he pairs it with the most detailed artwork that you'll see. So I can't wait to see how this even goes, because I wouldn't even, if you were to ask me to guess what would happen on Momo's trip to this fucking shrine or wherever they're going, I would not have suspected a human typhoon would show up with a gigantic eyeball in the middle that shoots sharks out of its nose. So, what am I going to say?
I wouldn't have guessed that either.
Yeah, Dandadan's insane. But those are all my thoughts, really. Brian, what did you think?
God damn this series. It's so fun. And honestly, at some point, I need to frame one of these panels on a wall or something at some point.
Yeah.
Because goddamn, like and the problem is there's too many options to pick. There are too many fucking amazingly drawn 2-page spreads in this series to pick which one would fit on my wall. And if I picked all of them, they wouldn't be able to fit on every part of my wall. You know what I mean? There is so many. Like this guy is genuinely so unbelievably gifted. In not just in like drawing, but in the way that he like the way that he's like his creativity, like Chris mentioned, and even his writing isn't like, it's so unique to its style. You know what I mean? Like what's the word? What's the phrasing? It borders the line between humor and seriousness so fucking finely. It treads that line so insanely close that like you just don't know what to expect every time you pick up a chapter of Dandadan. Like 1 second it's you're in an insanely heartbreaking backstory, and then the next second you're shooting snot rockets out of a fucking snot rocket frozen sharks at a plane. Like, it's insane. And that's truly the series' brand in its own unique way, and I look forward to it literally every fucking week. It is so fun. But those are my thoughts.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're coming up on 200 chapters of Dandadan, actually.
Nice.
This is 197, so soon enough, we'll be celebrating 200 chapters with Dandadan. But for now, that was Dandadan for the week, and that has been our show. Wowie zowie. Thank you guys so much for listening. Sorry for the weird awkward cut in the middle. Whatever. It be that way sometimes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. You could find me at the Chris Espinal on Twitter and Instagram. Josh is at jdcole_37 on Instagram, at New Gym City Josh on Twitter. Brian is at b.esp on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow him on twitch.tv/It's Punchline, where he streams video games sometimes, I guess. You can follow the show at New Jump City on most social media platforms. I think we're pretty much on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram on there. Email the show at newjumpcitypod@gmail.com with any questions, suggestions, anything you guys want us to talk about. Please keep them coming. We missed 2 weeks of pre-show chat show, but that's because I am tired these days. There's a lot of stuff going on. But next time we do the pre-show chat show, should be next week maybe, depending on my energy levels. That's it. Subscribe to us, please. Oh my God. Pull yourself together.
Sorry.
This is the plugs, man. No, but subscribe to us, please. We're everywhere. You listen to podcasts. That's Spotify. That's Apple Podcasts. That's YouTube. We're growing slowly. We do get more views, and I hope you guys are enjoying them. The people who are new, I hope you stick around and please subscribe. But that's all I gotta say about plugs. Thank you guys so much for listening. We'll see you guys next week. Stay safe, New Jump citizens.
Peace.